Adam Pearce just exposed Seth Rollins as the mastermind behind the Royal Rumble attack on Bron Breakker, and I am absolutely enraged right now. The Raw general manager just dropped the biggest bombshell in WWE history at Saturday night's main event, confirming what we all suspected. Seth Rollins is a lying, cheating, manipulative fraud who orchestrated the entire conspiracy to steal the 2026 Royal Rumble. Pearce presented undeniable evidence, concrete proof, and damning testimony that Rollins hired the masked attacker to eliminate Bron Breakker, and the fallout from this revelation at Snme is going to destroy Rollins' career, obliterate his legacy, and send shockwaves through WWE that will be felt for years. If you're not absolutely furious at Seth Rollins right now for being the snake we always knew he was, then you weren't paying attention to the smoking gun evidence Pearce just revealed. The reveal happened during a special investigative segment at Saturday night's main event that Adam Pearce had been hyping all week. The Raw GM walked out looking deadly serious, carrying a tablet with evidence and flanked by WWE security personnel. Pearce got on the microphone and said that after an exhaustive investigation involving security footage analysis, financial records examination, and witness interviews, WWE had conclusively identified not just the masked attacker, but the person who hired them to destroy Bron Breakker's Royal Rumble dreams at Snme. Adam Pearce then laid out the evidence piece by piece at Saturday night's main event, and every revelation made Seth Rollins look more guilty. Evidence number 1. Security footage from the parking lot at Snme showed the masked attacker arriving at the arena in a rental car that was paid for with a credit card registered to a shell company. Pearce revealed that this shell company was traced back to financial accounts connected to Seth Rollins. The paper trail was clear and undeniable, linking Rollins to the attacker. Evidence number 2 that Pearce presented at Snme was devastating for Seth Rollins. Text message records obtained through WWE's internal investigation showed communication between Rollins and an unknown number discussing handling the Breakker problem and making sure the path is clear at the Rumble. The messages were sent in the days leading up to the Royal Rumble at Saturday night's main event. Rollins used coded language, but the intent was crystal clear. He was arranging for someone to take out Bron Breakker. Evidence number 3 at Saturday night's main event absolutely buried Seth Rollins. Multiple WWE superstars came forward as witnesses, saying they overheard Rollins talking about how he couldn't beat Breakker straight up and needed to find another way to win the Rumble. These weren't just random wrestlers. These were credible sources, including backstage personnel, producers, and even some of Rollins' former allies who were disgusted by what he did at Snme. And then Adam Pearce dropped the nuclear bomb at Saturday night's main event. The Raw GM revealed the identity of the masked attacker that Seth Rollins hired. Pearce called for security to bring out the person, and when they walked through the curtain at Snme, the wrestling world gasped. The masked attacker was revealed to be Murphy, Rollins' former disciple from his Messiah days. Murphy, who has history with Rollins, who owes Rollins favors from years ago, who would do anything for the man who gave him opportunities. Murphy stood in that ring at Saturday night's main event and confessed everything. He admitted that Seth Rollins contacted him weeks before the Royal Rumble and offered him money and a guaranteed contract to return to WWE if he would eliminate Bron Breakker from the Rumble match at Snme. Murphy said he was struggling financially after leaving WWE, that Rollins exploited his desperation, and that he regrets being part of this conspiracy. The emotion in Murphy's confession at Saturday night's main event seemed genuine. Here was a man who made a terrible decision and was now facing the consequences. Adam Pearce then addressed Seth Rollins directly, even though the architect wasn't in the building at Snme. Pearce said, "Seth, we have you dead to rights. The evidence is overwhelming, the witnesses are credible, and your hired attacker has confessed. You cheated to win the Royal Rumble, you defrauded the WWE Universe, and you destroyed Bron Breakker's WrestleMania opportunity through criminal conspiracy." The anger in Pearce's voice at Saturday night's main event was palpable. This wasn't just a storyline, this felt like real outrage. And then Pearce made the announcements that have the wrestling world in absolute chaos. First, Seth Rollins is stripped of his Royal Rumble victory effective immediately at Snme. The 2026 Men's Royal Rumble win is being vacated and will be awarded to the rightful winner, Bron Breakker, who would have won if not for Rollins' interference at Saturday night's main event. The injustice has been corrected and Breakker is now officially going to WrestleMania. Second announcement from Adam Pearce at Snme, Seth Rollins is suspended indefinitely from WWE pending further disciplinary action. Rollins is banned from all WWE programming, banned from WWE buildings, and his WrestleMania spot is gone. Pearce said that WWE is considering firing Rollins entirely for this level of misconduct. The career destruction of Seth Rollins is happening in real time, and it's absolutely glorious to watch this cheater face consequences. Third announcement at Saturday night's main event. Murphy is also suspended indefinitely and will likely be fired for his role in this conspiracy. Pearce said that while Murphy's confession was appreciated, it doesn't excuse his actions. Murphy destroyed his WWE comeback before it even began, all because he chose to help Seth Rollins cheat. The collateral damage from Rollins' scheming is massive. The reaction to these revelations at Saturday night's main event has been explosive across the wrestling world. Social media erupted with fans saying, "I knew it," and, "Finally justice," and demanding that Seth Rollins never be allowed back in WWE. Hashtag Rollins exposed, and hashtag Bye Bye Seth are trending worldwide. Wrestling forums are celebrating Pearce's investigation and the vindication of everyone who said Rollins was guilty all along. But here's where things get interesting. Seth Rollins released a statement through his attorney hours after the Snme revelations, and Rollins is denying everything. His statement claims that the evidence is circumstantial, that the text messages were taken out of context, that Murphy is lying to save himself, and that this is all a conspiracy to strip Rollins of his rightful Royal Rumble victory. Rollins is threatening legal action against WWE, Adam Pearce, and anyone involved in this defamation. The audacity of Seth Rollins continuing to lie even when caught red-handed is astounding. The man has been exposed with financial records, text messages, witness testimony, and a confession from his company conspirator, and he's still denying it. This is narcissism at its absolute peak. Rollins thinks he can lawyer his way out of this, but Adam Pearce presented evidence that would hold up in an actual court of law at Saturday night's main event. Here's what makes this even more satisfying. Bron Breakker appeared at Snme after Pearce's announcements, and the ovation he received was deafening. Breakker thanked Adam Pearce for his thorough investigation, thanked the WWE Universe for supporting him through this injustice, and then issued a challenge to Seth Rollins. Breakker said that when Rollins' suspension is lifted, he wants him in a match at WrestleMania where Rollins can try to take the WrestleMania spot that Breakker now rightfully holds. The storytelling possibilities from this revelation at Saturday night's main event are incredible. We now have a clear hero in Bron Breakker who was victimized by a corrupt veteran. We have a clear villain in Seth Rollins who cheated, lied, and destroyed people's careers for selfish gain. And we have Adam Pearce as the authority figure who actually investigated and delivered justice instead of just making matches. This is compelling wrestling drama at its finest. But let's talk about what this does to Seth Rollins' legacy in WWE. Before this revelation at Snme, Rollins was considered one of the greatest wrestlers of his generation. Multiple world championships, classic matches, Royal Rumble winner, Mr. Money in the Bank, Grand Slam champion. But now, his entire career is tainted. Fans will always wonder, how many of Rollins' accomplishments were legitimate and how many involved cheating we didn't catch. The asterisk next to his name is permanent. The locker room reaction has been brutal for Seth Rollins. Multiple wrestlers who were friends with Rollins have publicly distanced themselves from him on social media. Former Shield brothers Roman Reigns and Jon Moxley both posted cryptic messages that seem to condemn Rollins' actions. The wrestling community is shunning Rollins, and his reputation is in ruins. This is what happens when you cheat and get caught. You lose everything. Here's what I think happens next after this Saturday night's main event revelation. Seth Rollins will eventually fight his suspension through lawyers and probably get reinstated because WWE wants the heat from this storyline. But when Rollins returns, he'll be the most hated man in WWE. Every arena will rain down boos on him. And at WrestleMania, Bron Breakker will get his revenge by defeating Rollins in what should be a brutal match where Breakker destroys the man who tried to destroy his career. The vindication for everyone who called Seth Rollins a cheater is sweet. We were called conspiracy theorists. We were told we were worked. We were mocked for suggesting Rollins orchestrated the attack. But Adam Pearce's investigation at Saturday night's main event proved we were right all along. The evidence doesn't lie, witnesses don't lie, and Murphy's confession doesn't lie. Rollins is guilty and now the whole world knows it. What makes this revelation at Snme so satisfying is that it shows WWE actually cares about justice in their storytelling. They didn't just let the controversial finish stand. They didn't protect their veteran star at the expense of their young talent. Adam Pearce conducted a real investigation, gathered real evidence, and delivered real consequences. This is how you build trust with your audience, by showing that wrongdoing has consequences. The question now is whether Seth Rollins can ever recover from this career-destroying scandal. Being exposed as a cheater who hired someone to attack a fellow wrestler is possibly the worst thing a wrestler can be guilty of in kayfabe. It's worse than being a heel who attacks people himself, at least that's direct. Rollins was cowardly, hiring someone else to do his dirty work. The character assassination is complete. Murphy's role in this is tragic and serves as a warning. The man was desperate for money and opportunity, and Seth Rollins exploited that desperation for his own gain. Murphy's WWE career is likely over before it restarted, all because he made one terrible decision to help Rollins cheat. It shows how powerful wrestlers can use and discard people without consequences, except this time, Rollins faced consequences too. Here's my prediction for WrestleMania after this Saturday night's main event revelation. Bron Breakker will face the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, and somewhere during that match, Seth Rollins will interfere trying to cost Breakker again. But this time, Breakker will be ready. He'll fight off Rollins, hit him with a devastating spear, and then win the championship in front of 80,000 people. It'll be the ultimate revenge story and the perfect ending to this saga. The historical significance of Adam Pearce's revelation at Snme cannot be overstated. This will go down as one of the most important authority figure moments in WWE history. Pearce didn't just make a match or a ruling, he conducted an actual investigation and exposed corruption. Future storylines will reference this moment. Future authority figures will be compared to how Pearce handled this situation. This is legacy defining. I want to hear your thoughts on this absolutely vindicating revelation. Drop your comments below and let Seth Rollins know he's a fraud and a cheater. Smash that like button if you're celebrating Rollins being exposed. Subscribe to Ring Rumble 1 with notifications on because this story is far from over. Should Rollins be fired permanently? Does Breakker deserve the WrestleMania main event? Was Murphy treated fairly? How should Rollins pay for his crimes? And most importantly, will Seth Rollins ever be trusted again after being exposed as the snake he truly is? Let me know everything because Adam Pearce just delivered justice at Saturday night's main event, and Seth Rollins' career will never be the same after being revealed as the mystery attacker mastermind.